Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's jonyfraze. During the last video, we checked out the first look of Brook's new wireless fighting board, which is now installed inside the stick. So I'm pretty hyped to show you guys how this thing functions, the features, performance, all that good stuff. Diving in, you're going to see a couple differences between a traditional build and this new wireless build. First thing to take note of is the antenna. All right, it simply just connects with this point right over here. Just pop that right in and route it either internally or externally. I chose to put it externally for maximum connectivity. It's a typical range of a wireless controller, about 10 meters or you could say around 30 feet roughly. I haven't had any connectivity issues. I was across my room, it worked just fine. Now, some of the things to take note is the case material of your fight stick, okay? So if you have like a metal case or a plastic case, that's going to determine whether or not you want to leave it external or possibly just keep the antenna internal. All right, I have an acrylic case. I could have left it internal, but for the sake of the video, I want to show you guys that, it's probably best to install it externally so you can actually, get the best performance that you can. You're going to need to drill a hole if you choose that option. All right, it's a 6.21 millimeter hole. I'm in the US, so I just got by using a 1/4 inch drill bit and made a perfect hole, and it's nice and snug. One thing I do want to show you guys is that you can finger loosen or tighten the actual antenna piece. You see that? And really useful if you're traveling and you don't want to snag anything while it's in the bag. Okay, now the battery. Please look up battery safety, guys, before you do anything with this build. All right, make sure that it's safe. You don't want to like super glue it down to the case or even hot glue it, because if you rip it up and all of a sudden the battery bursts, you're going to be in big trouble. So safety first on that end. I made myself this little like styrene base for it with some zip ties, and I just have 3M adhesive corners to mount it to the bottom of the case. All right, that's going to install right over here to this connector. Okay, now Brook is saying that the connector is the 2.54 millimeter JST type. The reason why I want to bring that up is you can go search for like a replacement PS4 battery, and you might get the newer version of it, which won't fit at all. It's like a smaller connector, and you're going to be pretty upset and have to deal with the returning and all that good stuff. I suggest actually just looking for a PS3 battery, however big capacity you want, but just get a PS3 battery, and it's going to guarantee the right connectivity. All right, so again, 2.54 millimeter JST connector. I use this old PS3 battery from one of my old builds from back in the day. All right. Okay, LEDs too, right? So if you guys have like LEDs in your fight stick build, and that's something that you enjoy doing or like the aesthetic, you might want to think twice about that. It's going to impact the power draw of the battery. Who knows if it affects performance or connectivity, but my personal advice is stay away from that unless it's absolutely necessary. Brook also mentioned that you can connect a USB power bank to this USB-B port over here, but to be honest with you, it's a little bit clunky, and you're going to need some extra wires, from the battery pack to the board. Honestly, just go with the JST connected battery, and it's going to be a lot smoother and cleaner build. All right, guys, so I am going to plug the controller in, hit the PS button, and as you can see, it is showing up as a wired PlayStation 4, actually a DualShock 4 controller, which is kind of cool. I don't know if they did that by design, but you're going to see some of the same menu options that you see for a DualShock 4, like the light bar, and even like the rumble is on there when I was sifting through the menu. But again, it doesn't have some of those features, but it does show up as a DualShock 4, which is very, very interesting. All right, so it's charging also. You can see on the bottom left, you can see the USB indicator indicating it's wired, and the battery is charging while I have this hardwired. Now I'm going to disconnect it. All right, let me press PS, let me disconnect it, and it says DualShock 4 disconnected. All right, so to get this working wirelessly, now that you made that one hard connection, if you press PS again, boom, it shows up as a wireless controller now. As you can see, voila, no wires. And let's go back in the game. And as you can see, it is performing as a wireless controller at the moment. If I press PS, you can see that it's connected on the bottom, and I did want to show you guys the audio mode as well. So I have a typical headphone. I'm going to use the 3.5 millimeter jack on the back of the USB port right over here. You see it says microphone switched to headset controller, so you know it's connected. And if we go to the PS settings, let's go to the sound settings. I believe it's under devices and audio devices, and you can see the microphone level. Let's do that. Check, 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 and you can see it's working, and you can even output the audio to the headphones directly. So I could be chilling with just a pair of headphones, playing wirelessly without any wires from the stick, which is really cool option. I don't know if I can get any audio through this little microphone from my headphone jack, but you can hear it slightly, but there you go. So as you can see, audio is working in the wireless mode, which is a freaking super cool option. Let's go pair this up to the Switch, see if there's any other nuances that we could figure out. Alright guys, so you do have to hold down light kick or 1K and plug in the stick, and that should turn this guy into Switch mode. Just for reference, if you hold down light punch or one punch, that is the code for PS3, right? So you want to hold it down before you plug in the cable. So jab or light punch is PS3 mode, medium punch is PS4 mode, and then light kick is Switch mode. So now that I pressed light kick and plugged in the controller, I'm going to press home. This guy, instantly paired to the Switch. Controllers, let's see what it shows up as. And it basically shows up as a Pro controller. You do have to go into the settings and enable the Pro controller mode. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Right over here, you see where it says Pro controller wired communication. Right above me, right there. That must be on in order for this to work. Okay, so let me hit back and get out of here. Now, let's unplug this guy. Okay. Alright, so we're on wireless mode right now. It's not working, but let me press PS and see what happens. Aha! On the bottom left, you see the indicator just popped up on the bottom left, and now I am again connected, but now wireless. And you can see the battery meter works as well. So easy as that. I am now on Switch. Alright, let's go into some Street Fighter and see how this works. Alright guys, so we are rocking wirelessly Street Fighter Anniversary Collection on Switch. I'm playing Third Strike right now. Just testing everything out, and it's pretty exciting to know that you can just bring your stick with you and your Switch, chuck everything in a backpack, and be able to rock out and play some fighters with an actual fight stick instead of using the Joy-Cons. So that's pretty hype. That's how to get this up and running on Switch, guys. Let's go over some performance testing. Alright guys, here's a scoop on this rudimentary lag test. Don't get on my case about it not being so precise or scientific. It's just here to show you guys a rough performance of this Brook wireless board. Alright, so the baseline is going to be wired mode, which is a video that I have right over here that I captured on my phone, 60 frames a second, right? I have a keyboard over here. This is QuickTime, so every time you press forward or back, it advances or goes back a frame, right? So here's what I mean, okay? I have an LED button that I wired up to the board. Okay, it stays on when it's not touched. When you press it, it actually turns off. So here's what I'm measuring. I'm just measuring the difference between the wired and wireless modes, not the overall lag. And I'm doing that by just counting the frames from when the light turns off until we see the first frame of animation for stand heavy punch for Ryu. Okay, so here's what I mean, right? I'm gonna advance through until the light turns off completely. Right there is pretty good. And I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you guys look right over here, you'll start to see a little haze of animation over there, and that's Ryu's stand fierce animation about to come out. And I measured 4 frames from when the light turned off to when the animation came out. So I'm just gonna rinse and repeat from the wired mode. That's gonna be my baseline. The wireless mode, right, which we all wanna know the difference between the wired and wireless mode. And then I also have a pad hacked DualShock 4 inside one of my fight sticks, and I'll measure the difference between you know, the DualShock 4 versus this Brook wireless board, okay? And that's going to be also in wireless mode. So that's the lag setup. Again, it's not super precise, it's rudimentary, but it gives you guys a good idea of the performance of this board. If you guys want to go ahead and, you know, do a little bit more of a scientific test with some better equipment, go ahead, you know, but again, this is just showing you guys the rough performance of the Brook wireless board. Alright guys, so I just finished all the testing using the method that I just described. I tested the Brook board wired, the Brook board wireless, and also a DualShock 4 PCB inside one of my other sticks in the wireless mode. Without a doubt, obviously, wired is going to be your best option. And remember, I only measured the gap of time from, or I should say the frames in between when the light turned off and the beginning of the animation of the hard punch, okay? So this is not a lag test of the board in general, all right? Don't get that twisted. This is just showing you the differences between each of the modes, okay? So obviously, wired's going to be the best. I got a clean 4 frames from, you know, 10 tries of doing that method, and an average 4 frames, okay? The wireless mode now, very, very interesting. There was 3 instances where it just veered 1 more frame than the wired, so it's a 4.3 frame, you know, average, so 0.3 difference between wired and wireless. Again, small sampling. This isn't the best or most scientific test, but you know, just as a rough estimate, that is some pretty freaking awesome performance, and I was really surprised by that. Going on to the DualShock 4, again, same test. There were 7 instances where it jumped up to that 5 frame gap, and that's kind of nuts. So this actually outperformed the DualShock 4 on my test. You guys can test it further, but with everything all said and done, this thing performs phenomenally for a wireless board. All right, so I can't even tell the difference in casual play between the wired and wireless mode. You know, I'm not dropping combos. Everything feels exactly the same. So I'm happy to report that performance is freaking top notch, and good job to Brook for making that happen. So one thing you have to remember is that this guy is now going to pair itself to your console, and it's going to stay remembered by the console as one of the wireless controllers, right? So if you guys are going to bring this to a tournament, please, please, please treat this like a DualShock 4 or wireless controller and desync it. Otherwise, you're going to cause some havoc with the next set of players on that station in case you press home and it freaking ruins their game. All right, because of that, I actually am in talks with Brook about implementing some sort of tournament mode. Maybe it's like a combination press that will allow you to disable the wireless completely while plugging it in. That would be really cool, so that you guys can just avoid that if you plan on using this PCB for your main stick. Alright guys, as promised, this has been the follow-up video for Brook's wireless fighting board, and I have a couple details to share with you guys as far as price, availability, and where to buy this thing. Price-wise, they want to retail this for about $70 US, okay? I think that's really cool because the existing PS4 Plus audio board is $65 and it doesn't have the wireless option, so for $5 more you get the wireless option, and that's freaking awesome, okay? Keep in mind you also have to add in the cost of a battery, alright? Now, as far as availability, Brook has said this is going to be available early September, okay? So that's September 2019. That's only a couple weeks away from the making of this video, so you guys should be able to get this in your hands rather shortly. All right, now resellers in the US, there's 2 at the moment. That's going to be focusattack.com and arcadeshock.com. So go check those guys out, and hopefully you guys can get this in your hands and installed into a stick for yourself. All right, guys, again, this has been jonyfraze. Thanks again. Please hit the sub button if you enjoy my content. Hit the notifications for all the new videos that post. Follow me on social media at jonyfraze, as well as twitch.tv/jonyfraze. Till the next one, happy building. Catch you guys soon.